Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today for another session of Oracle WebCenter PM Office Hours. As you know, today the key topic is how can you leverage Oracle WebCenter content integration with Fusion application. So let's dive in. I just wanted to make this safe harbor statement because we might show you something which is still in progress. So please reach out to us if you think something is not available. So the intention behind having this PM Office Hour is that we can really show you what is the latest capability which has been released. As you know, with WebCenter content on cloud, we're releasing every month the new functionalities. We wanted to take an opportunity also to talk about some use cases or success story. So if you have any story which you want us to share with us, please reach out to us. And finally, we wanted to make it interactive. So we always try to include as much as demo we can include in the session. So let's continue. And in today's agenda, we go over the quick update, whatever has been released in the June release, which is 24.6.1. Then we'll go to our key topic, talking about integration with Fusion application, followed by the demo, and then we'll open for Q&A. So with the June release, the first release changes that now you can have an object storage as an optional, right? So prior to this, we released the support of the object storage, but it was kind of a mandatory. Now we have made it flexible that it is your choice. You wanted to use object storage, you wanted to use file storage, right? You can always configure database storage. So there are multiple options available. So with this, the advantage is that object storage comes with a tier pricing. So if you're not aware, what do I mean by that is that there is something called infrequent access. So if you don't access a content for a certain period, automatically it goes on a lower tier pricing. So this really make it very attractive financially or economically, where you can save cost when you are dealing with a very large volume set. Another great enhancement we have released is the ATP support. So earlier we were supporting database services. Now with this release, you can also leverage ATP. We have also simplified the naming. As you can see, earlier you have to copy paste the entire connection string, but now all you have to do is just bring the PDB name. So with this, you can leverage the advantage of ATP along with the Web Center. This is the integration with an OCI login. So if you remember, in the last session, we have shared our vision where we really wanted to have Web Center on cloud, where we offload as much as we can from the manageability, from maintaining the environment or the underlying services. So this is a step toward that now you can configure the agent and you can bring all the logs into one single place. And after that, you can really search, you can find, you can get a visualization on your log on one place. So I don't have to connect to the multiple server. Let's say I'm scaling up. So that's a complicated process, right? So now we have simplified. That is a one entry point, one dashboard where you can access all your log. You can monitor if something is going wrong. Now, integrating with an Oracle process automation. Again, you have earlier it was also called process cloud services, part of an OIC. So now we have released this integration, and with this, you can leverage OPA for a workflow. So I hope you are aware that Web Center already have a native workflow, but there is a lot of complex workflow. You have a human task flow where you need people approval. You wanted to go beyond Web Center. So OPA is a very mature platform where you can just, whatever the kind of workflow you want, you can easily design there. So now our goal is how you can leverage that workflow system along with Web Center content, right? So once you enable the component, you can see this option like Oracle Process Automation. And then once this registration is done, you have to go and add a process, and this will bring up all the process which is defined in OPA, and you can select what all process you really wanted to leverage in Web Center. If you recall, in Oracle Content Management, we also had a similar thing. So the customer who are coming from Oracle Content Management, you can relate that there also you do a registration, then you select all the workflow which you wanted to really use in OCM. So this is exactly following the same step. Moving forward. So while talking about an OCM, we have released a migration tool. So now customer can migrate from OCM to WebCenter. Now, if I really talk about the overall approach, you can see here the migration tool will run and it will create an output file which will include all the metadata, certain control file, and the content is stored in an object storage, right? So we'll have some set of file which is getting generated. Now you bring here and then you use the SQL loader, which will push all the metadata here and will have the component which will connect back. This content is copied from this object storage to WCC object storage, and the relationship will be established back. So that way, with this migration tool, the migration has been pretty much simplified. You can refer to the documentation. There is a way you can reach out to the support if you need any further help on this. But the idea behind is that if you're running on Oracle Content Management, now it is easy for you to take a step and migrate this to WebCenter. REST API, I think this is an amazing one. So we released a set of REST API in the previous release, but with this release, we have released a lot more, plus a very clear documentation. And with every release, we are going to fill up the gap. So as you know, that we have the RIDCs or SOAP services, which is pretty extensive. And we are trying to catch up, and more REST APIs will be released, and very soon we'll be able to cover everything. In case if you have any specific requirement which you want us to prioritize, you can always reach to us, and we can help you with that. But I believe we have got most common APIs already available. So now we'll see in the today's session itself, like how we have got a very simple VB application using this REST API, and we can do whatever we are looking to do a common activities. So with this, I would like to summarize, right? Overall June update, I would say it was a great update for us, because now we are empowering the people that they can build whatever the kind of solution they want with the REST API. You have a process integration so that you can leverage and build a lot more complicated process. From a manageability point of view, we have integration with the log. Now we support database. I mean, so many things. And the most important piece, right, that for the existing Oracle Content Management customer, now they can think of how easily they can migrate to WebCenter, right? So this was one of the top question for all existing customers, that what help I'm going to get from Oracle, which make my life easy to migrate. So that's the answer to the point, that now you have a migration tool in place. So with this, let's move into the key topic for today's, which is like, how can you integrate WebCenter content with FA? So before we jump into the key topic, I would like to highlight one point, that for FA customer, you already have a WebCenter content which comes as part of the Fusion application. But I just wanted to clarify here that we are not talking about anything about the WebCenter content instance which comes with an FA, rather than we are suggesting to have in a standalone. And the reason why we are doing it, because the instance which comes with an FA is pretty restrictive. As you know, the Fusion application is a SaaS application, and you just get a limited access to the feature of the WebCenter. You cannot go ahead, you cannot do an administrative task. So there are various limitations, and again, you don't know, right, how the team will change and how the product will shape, right? Because that is not something offered as part of the core Fusion application, right? So you will always see that you wanted to leverage it for, customize it. You wanted to enable the record management for the compliances. There are so many valuable feature which you will not be able to enable with an standalone, with an WebCenter content which comes with an FA. So that is where it is very important to have a standalone where you can get the most value out of the investment using both FA and WebCenter together. So with this, let's move on. Why you should even consider, right, integrating WCC with FA. So the first thing is that if you're an organization, if you're using FA, then I'm sure, right, you're trying to streamline your business process. But in ideal world, there are so many processes, right, that you pick the big, large process, but there are so many small process, ad hoc process, which very specific to a geographical location, very specific to the department, and it is very difficult to go and throw everything and get everything in a one right way day one, right? So I'm sure every organization has so many ad hoc processes, and many of them are document centric, right? So the idea is, how can you streamline that whole document centric ad hoc processes, right? Next, your FA user, they wanted to make certain decision, right? Whether it is in hiring, it is in a sales opportunity, and you may want to have an access to certain information which reside outside the boundaries of FA. So as an FA user, how I can get those information on my fingertip so that I can make a right decisions, right? So I don't have to go after different people or different repository to access this content. And the third, and which is very obvious, that right now we are talking about going outside FA, right? Or if you really talk about, it's not just an FA, right? Even within FA, you have a various modules. So how do you collaborate between the service cloud and the sales cloud? There can be a lot of content. For example, I have purchased something from you and I have a trouble. So a service engineer would like to know that what was promised to the customer. Again, this is just one of the example out of 100 scenario which can happen. But the idea is that how can you empower your FA user to go beyond their modules, to go beyond FA and collaborate with the various users, right? And finally, because we are talking about all the content movement, the information, it can be a sensitive information. How do you make sure that you're meeting the regulatory requirement, right? So keeping all this thing in the mind, right? How do I streamline my business process? How do I make my user more empowered so that they can make a right decision, right? How do we collaborate across this? And while doing everything, I don't have to worry about any data leak, any content leak, or any regulatory violation. So because of this, the WebCenter content comes into the picture, right? So with WebCenter content, you can easily improve the productivity by streamlining the process, right? All the document-centric process, to be precise, right? Now, because you are bringing it together, you are making it more effective. So it's a no-brainer that you are going to save cost. There can be other saving also, like an opportunity cost, but definitely there's a lot of an operational cost which you are going to save, right? Your time to market or time to deliver something is going to be shortened. You are going to get an enhanced compliances because now everything is tracked, recorded, and finally, right, whatever you are trying to do as a business, you can get it done faster. You are collaborating, you can innovate faster, right? So basically, in today's world where there's very high competition, how do you move fast, right? So this, with all this information on fingertip, you can really have that competitive advantage. Again, so this is all theoretical. I'm sure you might have heard about all those things. Let's put this more in context of some use case which you can really visualize it, right? So going back to the first point, right, where we talk about is streamlining the business process. So let's take a scenario. How can you visualize a document-centric ad hoc process and how we are going to solve this? So in this case, I'm considering a use case called partner onboarding process. Why partner onboarding? Because this is a very common use case across various organizations. Let's say if you're a finance organization, you may have a customer onboarding, supplier onboarding, vendor onboarding, employee onboardings. There can be so many entity which you wanted to onboard, and there's a lot of documents around onboarding, right? You have to validate, you have to ask the proof, evidences, requirement, right? There's so much around it. And typically this process are very tedious. It goes to the multiple department, multiple people are involved, and it takes time. So the idea was, how can I really get it fast, right? So if I really talk about this particular use case, in today's scenario, what happened? You'll have a partner recruiter, right? So who will be reaching out to the partner, marketing them, and finally getting all the required information so that they can be onboarded. Now we have a partner, right? So the communication between the partner recruiter and partner typically happen over the email, over the phone. They're exchanging the content. Now partner provided certain document. Then partner recruiter, oh, you know what? You missed this document. You have wrongly uploaded or given me another document. Now he has everything. Then it goes back to the legal team. Now he may just create a folder somewhere, upload it, and then give an access to the legal team. Again, change of thoughts, people will go review it, to and fro happens. And the most painful thing, right? If somebody leaves in between, right, or you get a new person who has no idea about it, then it's very, very difficult to go and find the information or resume that entire process, right? Once it is all done, all document verified, then the partner recruiter create a folder and say to the partner manager, hey, this is all weighted. Now this partner can be onboarded in our system. And that's where the partner manager goes and onboarded. So this is, I would say, most of the places we find this ad hoc process look like this. But if I have an opportunity to fix this and streamline this process, how it would look like, right? So I would say the partner recruiter will share a link to an app which a partner get and he upload, and it is very clearly defined. Oh, this is a compliance requirement. This is an address proof. This is an income proof. These are the kind of document which is allowed. These are the mandatory information. So he goes and upload all the documents, and then it directly goes to the legal team, right? And legal team can reject their financial statement, right? And then partner will get notified. He has to upload another document, something like that, right? And finally, when legal team approve, then that's where the partner recruiter get notified saying that, hey, you know what? It's all ready. Now the partner manager log in and he don't have to worry about where the partner recruiter is storing the file and all. He can definitely go and find all the document which is pre-verified and quickly onboard in the system. So if you look at this entire, if you agree with me that this is more streamlined and better process, then if you look at the various steps like a 1, 2, 3, 4, this can be streamlined using building an application for this ad hoc process. And again, it is your choice. We have multiple low-code platform, whether it is you choose Oracle Apex or you choose VBCS. It's up to you. And once you have this, or both Apex and VBCS can talk to WebCenter, and then this content is available in single repository. And from FA, when you log in, the partner manager log into the FA, he can see the same content and attach it to the transaction. So that's how you can see, right, how we have streamlined the process and how I've clearly highlighted that which step will be done in which particular product. So let's look at the key challenges, right? When we talk about the today's scenario versus what is a streamlined process look like. So today, if you are dealing over the email, over the folder, it's a manual handling. I don't have to mention, it's very difficult. You are so people dependent. You cannot find where it's a bottleneck. What if you misplace the document, right? It's very hard. And then the another challenge is the validation. How do you make sure that the document which you are uploading are the same document which are getting verified? What if you override? So again, more or less similar problem. And finally, when you're dealing with such a big enterprise, you may have a various system where all this content has to be integrated. So if somebody else need it, all you do have to do, okay, download it, copy it. Trust me, over the time, you'll have 100 copies of the document, right? And it's very, very difficult to get rid of them. And it's very difficult to keep track, right? The sensitive information is lying where. So as a solution with WebCenter Content, what you can do is for managing this manual document handling, you can build a custom application, again, using Apex or VBCS, your choice, and you can streamline this ad hoc process, right? And this content, this process will push the content to the WebCenter, and WebCenter can have the workflow. So as we talk about that right now, we support OPA. So either you can use Oracle policy or process automation, or you can use the native workflow in the WebCenter to streamline that entire workflow. And finally, you can establish the integration between the Fusion app and WCC so that a partner manager can log in and integrate or basically access the document directly. So with this, let's quickly jump into the demo, right? So what we demonstrated the flow, let me show you with a live example. So this is an Apex application where a partner get a link to this, and as a partner, I log in. And again, I'm putting my organization name like WCC Service Limited. I'm putting my email ID, address. So it is your choice, right? You can define the way you want it. And again, with Apex, it's very easy and straightforward to build it. I'm uploading here my PAN card as one of the required document. Then again, I can define various sections where I can ask more detail, more document. Let me put my registration year as a 2000s, right? And so on and so forth. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and submit. So basically, this request has been submitted, right? Now it directly goes to the legal team. So what I'll do is, now I will log in as a legal. Okay. And I can definitely see all the requests coming from the partner, which is waiting for my approval. So this is WCC service UC. Okay. Let's look into this. So you can see all the data and I can look at the document. So this is the PAN card, which was uploaded by the user. Okay. This looks good, right? And again, there can be various things which I wanted to review. I'll say, okay, everything looks great. I approve as a legal from my side, right? Now, for the final approval, it goes to the partner recruiter. So now the recruiter will log in and he will see this something similar, like saying that, okay, these are the partner which is waiting for his approval. We are logging as a recruiter. Okay. So you can see for WCC service, the request 687 is there. Let me look into the detail. And very similar UI, you get all the details. You can see the document again. And here, everything has been approved. I can just put some start date from when the partner will be onboarded, and then I'll just finally approve and submit it. So this completes the entire process, what we have been talking about, right? Ad hoc process, where you have this low-code platform to streamline that process. But behind the scene, it is integrated with WebCenter. Once you approve, this content is available with WebCenter, along with the metadata, what you do, right? Now let's log into the Fusion application as a partner manager. So now I will go to the partner module here. So this is where, right? Again, we are taking example as a partner module, but please keep in mind that in Fusion application, the design pattern is almost same for most of the modules. So just like a partner, if you have any other business area you wanted to integrate, you can do that. So here we can create a partner, or just for the sake of time, we'll just go ahead and use an existing partner. I just created this before the demo. So this is a WCC service partner is created. Here you will see a menu called document, right? And this is where we have introduced as part of the integration. Now this will bring up a UI. So you can see there's a single sign-on between the Fusion application and the Web Center. That's the reason you saw the pop-up. And this is the screen which is coming from Web Center. Now you can either go and upload a new document, which we will see in the next demo. Let's go to the repository. So here I have a pre-approved document, which was done through Apex application. Again, I can have various options. I can search by metadata. I can even have an option where I can browse, I can search. So let's do a simple text search and I'll say, I just wanted to have WCC PAN card, right? You can search by a request number as you wish, right? And here I can look into the document, right? And all I have to do is just select this document. And again, you can have a multiple document and you can select multiple document in one shot. And you are associating this document in FA. So technically the document is not moved, right? Or is not being copied. The document is still staying in the same place, but we are establishing the relationship between this transaction and the document. Now, the most important part is the security aspect, right? Because WebCenter has its own security. So here, in Fusion application, if you have an access to the transaction, you will be able to see the document. But if somebody log into the WebCenter, he will not be able to see the document until unless explicitly he has been given an access. So that way, for collaboration, you have a different access. And for integration with Fusion application, you are able to control the access without really duplicating the content, right? So the topmost benefit is that you can have a faster onboarding, right? Because you are not waiting for somebody, you can find the bottleneck, you can automate this whole thing, right? There's no chance of any error, right? Because now I know that partner cannot miss any document, he cannot upload anything wrong, legal doesn't wait for it, nobody is sending the document over email or sharing the folders, so there's no chance. And the compliance side, obviously, because everything is tracked, everything is taken care. Even if you're uploading the multiple version, I have a keep track of everything, right? And if you look at it overall, now we are reducing the manual effort which is involved, right? Communication time, talking to each other, overhead of storing at a multiple places. So it really reduces your overall operational cost. So I hope you are able to visualize this and you can think beyond the partner module or any other module which you have. If you have any doubt, anything, please feel free to reach out to us or ask the question in the chat box. So with this, I would move to the next major use case, which is an enterprise asset repository. So here we are going to talk about the assets or the document which are kind of a reusable in nature, right? That's the reason we are calling them an assets. In the previous use case, the document where is specific to the transaction, right? So when I was onboarding a partner, all the document only makes sense in context of that particular transaction, right? For that partner. But here we are talking about something which is common across it, right? Or it is more about reusable. So the use case which we are going to talk about here is that as a sales guy, when I'm going and creating a new opportunity, or when I'm increasing the probability of the opportunity, I might want to share certain content, or even for me to talk to the customer more effectively, I may need some help with certain document, right? With sales assets. So how, as a sales guy, I can find the right sales asset right there in my Oracle Sales Cloud itself? So in this use case, we have multiple personas like a content creator, content owner, and a content consumer. So probably I see this use case very, very close to what I do, because I'm a content owner, I'm a product manager, right? So I maintain the content for my product. And I get a help from the content creator who help us to create a video, help us to create data sheets, PPTs, a lot of other things, right? So we give a feedback, we give the content, and they kind of put the asset in a right shape, in a right language. And then this all communication in most of the organization happen over the email, again over the collaboration over the meetings. And finally this content are placed in one place where you have content consumer, in our case which is going to be the sales folks. They are going to access and consume it. Now the challenge here is, do they really know where it is, right? As a content owner, like tomorrow if somebody else is taking on ownership, is he going to follow the same pattern, or is he going to create a different structure of the folder structure? So it becomes very personal preference how people are managing the content, right? Where they are storing, if you don't have a system in place. So let's see, if you have an opportunity to streamline the process, right? How would you do that? So if I would be in your place, I'll create a folder and I'll ask, okay, the content creator, please put everything here and share that with me for a feedback. I'll provide a feedback, you make changes, we do on multiple revision, and finally, if it's all good, you submit for approval, I'll approve it, and this content goes and set in a one place where this can be reused. Now the sales guys go ahead and open an opportunity, and from that same screen, he can go and find that library and find that asset, whether it is for him, for his potential customers. It's up to you, right? Any kind of asset which help him to convert or work better, right? So this is how I would try to do it, right? And if you look at it, the most of the step like 1, 2, 3, 4 is the core functionality of the web center, right? Where you can create a folder, you can annotate, you can collaborate with the user, you can share it, you can take a feedback, you can have the multiple revision, you can have approval workflow. So in today's session, we are not going to go and get into the core web center capability. But if you really have any doubt, any question, please reach out to us. I assume this is a default or out of box capability, so the most of you are already aware of it, right? So we'll look into the remaining part, which is the 5 and 6, where you log into the FA and you can really access this content, right? So before we go to the demo, let's kind of summarize the challenges and solution. So one challenge is, as a sales guy, I see that my content is pretty much scattered across multiple sources, right? So I need to know where it is. And if I'm new to the organization, God help me that I may not be able to find the document at the right time, right? Second is, it is very difficult to go and reach out to the people, ask him, whether consuming content or it's creating the content also, right? I don't know, maybe somebody has already created, right? What if I wanted to reuse the previous year content and tweak it and improve it for a better thing? So when it's not very organized, right, it's very difficult to collaborate and maintain the freshness of the content. And that's where the third thing, right? Everybody will have their own copy, right? People are working on their own silos. So it's very difficult, right? The sales guy has a copy, he downloaded it to his machine and he never looked back, right? So he is still working with the sales asset which was created maybe 6 months back. So how do we solve it? The first thing is you have to get one source of truth, right? That which is the web center, where you bring all the content in one place. Let everybody comes here, everybody access it, right? Everybody collaborate on this platform, which is the core functionality of the web center. So we have to streamline the entire collaboration part of it. Now, when it comes to distribution, we can integrate with Fusion application, and you can easily consume the content directly from the FA screen. So let's quickly go and look how the entire demo look like. So for this demo, what I have done is, because we have released the REST API also, we have quickly built a very simple application on Visual Builder. We call it as a VBCS. And it leverages the REST API, and it is very simple, where you can upload the document, you can search and all. So this gives you an idea, right? You can make a very simple application very specific to your need, right? So here I'm looking for a web center. And again, you can see, right, I can upload. So as a contributor, I can upload, I can review and all those things, right? So we'll not get into detail into that. So let's come to the key part, right? That this content has been created. It is available in the repository. Now I'm a sales guy. I'm working on an opportunity. And let's say I open again an existing opportunity. Let's call it as a WCC. So just like how you have seen in the partner screen that you have got a vertical menu tab here as a document, you can see the document there. But we have introduced something called asset. So as I have mentioned earlier, the document is very specific to transaction. Asset is very common across the module, right? So here you can see that the same application has been integrated. And if you notice, the header is gone, the upload functionality is gone, because I don't expect sales guy to upload here the content. Now the same thing, they can find the document, they can access it, they can download, they can share. So this way, it is very seamless for the sales folks to access the latest content with, and you can enhance this, and you can also take it to the next level, where you can pass the parameter based on opportunity, and maybe the content will be recommended based on what kind of an opportunity. So if you are working with a high-tech company, I would like to prioritize the content which is relevant to high-tech industry, right? So this is how the integration between the WebCenter content and with the Fusion application for the sales module will look like. And again, as I said, that this is not just limited to one module. You can replicate whatever the module is relevant to you. Now coming to the document again, last time in the partner module, we saw how you can bring the document from the repository. Here we are again going to the same manage attachment screen. And this time I would like to upload a new document. Let's say I'm working on an opportunity. It's my lucky day. I'm about to close it. So I have to share a contract with the customer. So I can draft a contract, and I just wanted to record and upload this contract, that this was the contract which was shared for this opportunity. Okay, and let's upload it. So this is how you can also have a bunch of documents which is very specific, right? So until unless somebody has an access to this opportunity ID, he will not be able to access this contract document, right? Again, I can click and I can see what's inside this contract. Great, right? So I hope you get an idea how you can use asset versus how you can use document. And one more thing while we are on this topic, right, that I have been integrating this integration on the side menu, but you can also customize the attachment link, which is a default on a header or line level, where you can hide or you can put an extra option, you can train your user. It's complete up to you, right? How do you want to bring the attachment capability? And that's where we call it as a managed attachment. So even at the header level, you can replace the attachment, bring this attachment. So what will happen now when user, let's say you are on an invoice screen and you wanted to attach an invoice document or a purchase order, you can click, this UI will come up and user will upload the document. Behind the scene in WebCenter content, we keep the context of what transaction IDs they are associated, so that when you request back, again, I'm repeating myself, that based on what security you have, right? If you have an access to that transaction, whether it's an opportunity or an invoice, then through this integration, which is available now, we will bring securely the document from the WebCenter and display it to you. So as an end user, it is very seamless experience. I will never know that this content exists outside FA. And from there, you can have other benefits, right? What we talk about, sharing with the non-FA users, collaborating with it. So that is where it's very secure and it's a very seamless experience for both FA and a non-FA user, given if you have a single repository. So with this, Let's summarize the benefit. I think I have been keep emphasizing on the security. So as you know, right, there is a whole security around who can access it. There's a log. You can completely prevent any unauthorized access. Now the collaboration speed is fast, right? Now you can take the content. You have basically decision making is going to be very fast because now you have the right content at the right time, right? You can effectively access this. And finally, and the most important, right, you're not working with an stale content. You have always have the latest. So if I, as a product manager, if I publish right now something, all my sales folks will have the latest data in a moment. So you're not working with an old thing. So I believe this makes sense for you guys, that you can visualize the whole idea of how you can have the reusable assets information. Another example would be if you have a service module, how you can create a knowledge base of all your document, right? And again, when I say knowledge base, I'm not saying something against what the knowledge base which exists in the service. It's, if you look at this whole integration, it is all about complementing the feature what FA has to offer, because you may have lot of assets, lot of information which is lying somewhere, which is very hard to convert into the out of box knowledge base of the service cloud, versus at least you bring up here, people can search and people can discover, right? So when I say knowledge base, I was referring to all unstructured data which you have accumulated over a year in your organization. Okay, so let's move on to the last use case, which is how do you leverage OBI and WCC integration. So let me highlight here, when I say OBI, it is in a BI enterprise edition, which comes as part of your Fusion application and which is used for generating all kind of a report within the Fusion application. So there are two major use cases. One is you have a report as a user and you save it in one place, right? And another is where you have a report which get bursted, and basically bursting means, if you are not aware of, that it really generate multiple different output based on certain criteria. So for example, let's say it's an account statement, right? So it's an account statement report, but it will generate account statement specific to the user. So in my system, if I have 100 user, then 100 report will be generated for each user, right? So let's look at the quick scenario here. So as a business user, I may want to, as a product manager, I wanted to generate some report, how my product is doing, how the revenue look like, and I just wanted to circulate between my team, right? And they can see it. Another thing is, I may wanted to generate a report about all the escalations, and I want the team member who are responsible for escalation, they only get a copy of it, right? It's not like everybody get the same copy. So these are the two scenario. I hope you will be able to relate with some of the other business use case in your day-to-day life which you encounter. So let's look at it, how exactly, right, we will streamline this. So today the business user will generate the report. He will upload it to the web center and share with the team, right? Now team doesn't need to go and rerun the same report and again, and they may not even have an access to OBI, right? So all they're interested in looking at the data, right? The team wanted to know how we are doing, or how many bugs are there, how we are doing compared to last week. So any kind of a report that is good enough for them. They don't need to have an access to the Fusion application. Okay. Similarly, the business user can run a report where each user is responsible for their escalation. So it will be given to all the users and one report to a specific user, right? So if I'm a Vinay Kumar, so I'll see all the customer detail, all the SR, which is escalated and assigned to me so that I have to act on it, right? So these are the scenario. So here, if you notice, the 1 and 3 is something which will happen on FA, which is an OBI, and the 2 and 3 is nothing but, you're storing the content, and based on the security, based on, certain configuration, you may notify the people, you can trigger a workflow on WebCenter content, and the people can access it. So that's the whole idea of this use case. So let's look at the challenges and the solution. So in today's scenario, without having this solution, the challenge is that not everybody has an access to report, right? You have to go and ask people, you have to request over the email, then somebody will attach that output, run for you. There's a delay there, right? And then there's a risk also that I'm giving it to you over email. You may copy, you may share with somebody who should not access to this thing, right? Then again, that brings to the manual distribution risk, right? And the last is the lack of security. I don't know, right, to whom you have shared it. You again, basically the idea is that if you are not an FA user, first of all, you cannot access it. I have a pain, there's a delay, there's a burden for me to generate the report and distribute, and finally I lose track of it, who all are having an access to the sensitive data. Now, how do we solve it? One, put all the reports into the web center, right? So I know it is automatically generated, it is available. Now I'm no longer limited with an FA restrictions, right? You don't have to be an FA user. Anybody can now access given they have the right permissions, right? So now everybody can access this content. And finally, because they are on Web Center, they are accessing something which is sitting on a Web Center. So we have all the audit and log in place. So we know who is accessing, when they have access, right? At any point of time, you really want to revoke the permission, you can just take away their permission. So it is very safe and secure. So let's quickly look at the demo. So this is how your OBI look like. So we'll go to the catalog. This is where you have all the reports defined. So I'll choose SR reports by user, where I wanted to generate a generic report, which I wanted to share with my team. So here I'll go ahead and in output, again, you can have a various outputs. I'll just give a user-friendly name. Let's call it as a June SR user report. And I'll choose a layout as a user report. Again, format is a PDF is perfectly fine. Here I'll choose the destination as a content server. And you can look at it, right? That I have selected a server, I have selected an account, and you can pass metadata and everything. So you can refer the documentation, but the idea is you can choose where it has to go, all the metadata, all the security group, everything you can map, right? Now this job is submitted. Let's go to the home and look at the job history. Let's give a moment. It will bring up the job request. It's not here. Here you go. So the June SR demo report somewhere you can see here is running. Now it is completed. Let's look inside it, and in output and delivery, you will see the file name, which exactly got generated as part of this job request. So what I'll do is, instead of going to the Web Center content, I will go to my little application. And as a user, I just wanted to find this document. So now you can see this document is available in Web Center. I can access it. And again, not to mention, right, I can share it, I can have the security, I can move around. So it's just like any other content. So if you notice, right, we have reduced the whole pain of requesting somebody, downloading it, sharing it, and all those things. So now let's look at the other one, right, the report bursting. So the similar way, I go and choose this different report, which is an escalated SR report. Here, instead of an output, I'll have a bursting option in an output. You can see the first option, which is selected. And already I have configured bursting option as a content server. So I don't have to do anything. Once you submit, and again, while you're setting up, you can choose which path it has to go, which metadata it has to take care. This is pretty well documented in OPI. You can just refer. Otherwise, you can always reach out to us. So we just submitted this one. And now in a similar fashion, let's go back and look at the job history. And this time, because this is going to generate a large volume of the report, so we don't have to wait for this job to complete because it will keep writing the files, right? So we can always go ahead and check it. So you can see this job is running. So I don't have to wait for the completion. In previous case, it was a single file, so I have to wait. Here, I can go output delivery, and we will see that there are certain document. Okay, you can see, right? Certain document are already generated, few are in work in progress. So let's pick any of the file which is already generated. Again, we'll go back to our VBCS application with this file name here, and let's search it. And you can see now I got this, all the SR which is created by me or assigned. Again, it's your functionality, how you want it, but I hope you get an idea, right? That there's a query criteria where created by this user, all the SR is listed to him. I can pick another file. Let's pick this one. Let's do the same thing. Okay, so you can see even this report is generated. So I hope this gives you an idea, right, how you can use Web Center content as a target repository for either one report or the report bursting, where you have so many reports getting generated. And then you can share the content with any number of audience you want. Right, so this really help you to improve the access, it help you to gain the efficiency, it help you to reduce the cost, right? Because you don't have to get an FA user access or license for everybody, because a lot of people are just interested to get the report, right, for their whatever the decision they have to make, or they have to perform a job, right? And it is very secure. I know that who is accessing this report, I can always take the privilege back, right? And again, we're not talking about sending over the email. This whole attachment is taking your mailbox. Again, people are downloading the same copy. Again, they are wasting the spaces, and again, it's very difficult. So now it is a one single place, single copy, and everybody is accessing it. So I don't have to tell, right, that how you're optimizing the cost and the storage. It is so obvious there. So with this, I would like to summarize the entire session for today. And let's take a moment to summarize and see what we have learned today. So one thing is, we look at it, what are the key benefits to integrate a standalone web center on OCI along with an FA, right? And we have seen the use cases. The first use case was all about partner onboarding, how you can manage the ad hoc process, which are document centric, right? The second use case was about reusable asset. We talk about the sales cloud, where a sales guy can access all the sales asset while you're working on an opportunity, so that he can make a better decision. He can help him to share the information or convert the opportunity with a higher rate, right? And the third one, the last one, which we saw, was how can you leverage OBI integration with WCC, so that you can generate a report, you can keep it a one copy, and again, you can allow the people to share. Okay. I hope this session was helpful and informative for you, and we'll continue the similar sessions, and your feedbacks are always welcome. So with this, I would like to thank you all for your time, and we'll conclude. And again, we'll see you in the next PM office hours.